Welcome to NBR Today. Restaurant Brands has received an offer for up to 75% of its shares, but recommends shareholders sit tight for now. The fast food chain operator has received a non-binding indicative approach from Mexico investment company FinAccess Capital to acquire a large stake by way of partial takeover at $9.45 cash a share. Restaurant Brands last traded at $7.60. So just how attractive is the offer for shareholders? NBR's Calendar Stuart Menteith spoke to Milford Asset Management's Francis Sweetman.
On face value, the offer is very attractive. It's a 24% premium to the share price pre the offer, and at a price to earnings multiple of 24 times, that's significantly above the multiple or the valuation that Restaurant Brands has traded at previously. But what shareholders need to take into account, and the judgment call for us from here, is whether that offer price adequately rewards shareholders for the less attractive structure of the vehicle going forward.
Shareholders probed Sky officials at today's annual general meeting about a rumoured buyout offer from NBC Universal, a New York-based American multinational media conglomerate owned by Comcast. But the company would not confirm media speculation on the matter. It also refused to give guidance for the 2019 financial year, despite saying it would do so early this year. In August, Sky TV reported a full-year loss of $240.7 million after taking a $360 million goodwill impairment. One Sky shareholder questioned the reappointment of director Derek Hanley, who was paid more than $100,000 last month by the government for being dumped from the First National Chief Technology Officer role. But Chairman Peter McCourt defended Mr Hanley's contribution to the board. NBR Rich Lister and Briscoe Group Managing Director Rod Duke made an appearance in the High Court at Auckland today, as a resource consent fight over a planned helipad was launched. Environment group Kawau Island Action has taken the legal action to stop Mr Duke building a helipad on a retractable roof on top of his Herne Bay boat shed. The Action Group lawyers, Gillian Chappell, told the court Mr Duke and his wife lodged their application to build the helipad before the unitary plan went ahead. Although the organisation concedes others in the area have access to their own helipads, it says they do not sit next to a public beach as the Duke's boathouse does on Sentinel Bay in Auckland. Overseas online retailers will be required to collect GST at the point of the sale in the same way as domestic retailers from next year. Revenue Minister Stuart Nash said today that the new rules are aimed at imported goods valued at or below $1,000, while Customs retains responsibility for collecting GST on imported parcels valued at more than that. Offshore suppliers will need to register for GST when they're selling more than $60,000 worth of goods or services into the country over a year. So just how many companies will bother importing to New Zealand now? Mr Nash spoke to NBR's Grant Walker.
And it is certainly a risk. But in Australia, where a number of companies suggested they wouldn't, all have actually signed up. So Australia introduced a similar policy, or very similar policy, in July of this year. All major online marketplaces and companies have actually signed up. So also keep in mind that we introduced a couple of years ago GST on online services, and we've had over 200 companies, offshore companies, sign up and comply to those rules.
The debacle at the Forestlands Group involving 19 companies in liquidation and continuing regulatory probes was not the first troubled investment scheme for their sole director, Rowan Kearns. NBR has learned shareholders of a previous forestry scheme promoted by Mr Kearns, Future Forest Canterbury, filed legal proceedings against him alleging breach of fiduciary duty. The claim was settled out of court in a deal involving the return of shares and 655 hectares of land to the company. To tomorrow, NBR is relaunching its weekly political wrap, Inquest. It's been a messy week in politics, starting with the coalition government still on the back foot over petrol prices, and ending with National and its leader Simon Bridges in uproar over Jamie Lee Ross's accusations of electoral skullduggery. So for more on these stories, head to our website and have a great evening.
To unlock your 2 free articles a week, head to nbr.co.nz.